it. Time to run the fast break, though, not to be lost in all the Brooklyn drama. The Utah Jazz doing some wheeling and dealing, reportedly sending Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves for a boatload, getting back 4 first-round picks for the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, as well as fan favorite, sort of, Patrick Beverley, who tweeted after news of the trade that it's time to take another team to the playoffs. You do you, Pat Bev. Utah also getting 3 other players. It seems like a lot. Nick, do you like Minnesota going all out to get Rudy Gobert? All out.
No. Hey, listen, I'm not prone to hyperbole, but this is the single most egregious overpay in NBA history. And I would say sports history, but I'm not quite certain of the biggest trades in the history of the NHL. So we'll just keep it to the NBA. There are a few so I want to make it clear. Kessler Edwards was the 22nd pick of the draft a couple weeks ago. So that's a first-round pick. They then traded 4 other first-round picks, 3 of which are unprotected. So it's essentially 5 first-round picks and a swap. And I'm going to show you 2 telltale signs, Brew, that this was an egregious overpay. The first one is the fact that Ainge, and credit to Jenna's guy, Danny Ainge, he now has, he has this bounty of picks that he can always pretend he's going to trade one day for a star player. It's exactly the world he wants to be in. But he did a great job with this trade. But you know how the Timberwolves overpaid? The fact that the Jazz were able to squeeze that 2026 pick swap out of them. I have respect for the people now running the Timberwolves, but did they think the Jazz were going to walk away from the deal if they wouldn't give them that swap? It's like, all right, we'll give you 4 firsts, 4 players, but I don't want to give you the swap. And Ainge was like, you got to include the swap or I'm out of here. Not doing it. They're like, okay, give him the swap. Like, what? You know how I also know that this was an overpay? Let me show you a headline and a sub-headline from an article that doesn't even have a listed offer. Minnesota sends a steep package, including 5 players and 5 picks. That is from the NBA's official website. So the league, in an unauthored article, just for the Adam Silver's league office is like, we got to write this up. How do we describe it? Can we call it the most egregious overpay in NBA history? We are NBA.com. What about a steep package? Guys, Brew, had they traded 1 first-round pick and those players, here's what I would be saying. I mean, I guess for that price, you got to do it. But I don't know basketball-wise if this will work. I don't know. Is Anthony Edwards going to have to score 38 points per game? Is he going to have a usage rate of 40? I don't know basketball-wise if it will work, because now you're going to play Gobert and Towns together at all times. They're both making $40 million a year. That's odd to me. But from a franchise building perspective, to trade 3 unprotected picks, this year's first-round pick, and a 2029 top 5 protected, it's just unfathomable. It's unfathomable they did this for.
I don't hate it nearly as much as you do. Look, Nick, look at it this way. If Utah had kept Gobert and in some type of trade they add Karl Anthony Towns, I think a lot of people would be saying, uh-oh, watch out for the Jazz. The Jazz were contenders, sort of, right? They certainly were a great regular season team with just Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Now, I think Anthony Edwards he's like a bigger version of Donovan Mitchell. I got Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. So I think they're going to win more than 50 games next year. And I'm not ready to say they're a contender because I think their main guy, Edwards, is still young. But I think this improved them. They're a small market team, Wilds. They're not going to be a free agent destination. And they did give up a lot. Nick is right. But I think they got better. And look, you can play Towns and Gobert together because Towns is a terrific 3-point shooter. Terrific. Defensively on the perimeter,
I know,
with Gobert in the playoffs, we'll see. That's been a problem in Utah. But they had trouble protecting the rim, Wilds, and they were horrible at that. They answered that with Gobert. I think they got much better.
I think they got slightly better. In the regular season, of course, but come playoff time, we see, go small. Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, is a liability. And meanwhile, Karl Anthony Towns, I know he's a great three-point shooter, but he does fall in love with that. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, buddy, you're 7 feet. Can you just get down there? Like, well, and I can't anymore. Rudy Gobert is down there. But I want to talk about, Nick, my guy, who is still currently on the Utah Jazz, hasn't asked out. Even though he has spent his entire summer in the Greenwich, Westchester area. He's been going to Rangers games. He's been going to Nets games. He's been going to Chris Brickley's run.
Nets.
But he has not asked out. So I ask you, why would Donovan Mitchell not ask out of the Utah Jazz? Why? Is it because of the All-Star game? Like, do we really think that's it? Because I cannot close the book on Donovan Mitchell to the metropolitan area when it's obvious that Utah is looking for toward the future.
To the metropolitan area. So are you opening up, as you would say, the aperture to the Brooklyn Nets being a piece of this? That's interesting. Here's the thing. I think Ainge is going to trade Donovan. I do not think right now it is more likely than I think it is more likely than not, however, that the trade happens either at the deadline or in this coming off season than right now. I do think the All-Star game is a piece of that. I also think that all these trades now, Jenna, are going to be skewed a bit by this drastic overpay. Like the Jazz got such a steep price for Donovan Mitchell that every other trade's going to be judged against it. And it's going to be hard for anybody to trade for a star. They got such a steep price for Gobert, pardon me. That when you get 5 first-round picks, it's hard to make any other trades.
All right, Danny Ainge conversation, check. To you who do, I do not judge. I simply implore a little mouthwash. That is a worn shoe, and that is down the hatch. Wilds, what else you got for us? That is just comedian Broussard.
Jenna, you are a beacon of honesty on this show. But you definitely judge that. I would not say you do not judge that. You judge. Hey, Rangers Mets, Dom Smith loses this one and loses the glove. Mets win all 3 games against the Rangers, 3.5 up on the Braves in first place. Moving on to the wonderful Sweden, Slovenia. Look at Luka catching up with Dirk. Just like a nice guy. This is a great relationship. You know what this makes me think?
Grab his leg.
Luka is never going to leave the Mavs. Never. During the game, an overrated chant broke out, and it was so funny, Dirk got into it. Take a listen.
I think a humorous chant from the crowd, overrated, when Doncic is at the line, and even he's chuckling about that. Dirk Nowitzki's in the house. Look at that, everybody.
You know, that chant does not work when everyone's just laughing at it and your friend is participating. Padres, Dodgers, Kershaw so good he does the wave mid-stretch. 7 innings, no earned runs for Kershaw, but Padres rally for 4 in the 9th and get the win. And finally, the wonderful. We're headed to the USFL Championship. Stallions up 3 with 3 minutes to go. Nope, make that 9. You know what that is? That's the Shark Dog. Scooby Wright, my guy, grabs this one, scores what turns out to be the winning touchdown. Starts to score another TD. But the Stallions hold on, take the championship. Congrats to the Stallions and the Shark Dog. That's weird and wonderful from the National Pass.
Great. And we will have more on the Stallions' big wing.